I, M25, went to meet my girlfriend's, F22, parents. Their living conditions are a bit of a shock. My girlfriend and I have been dating for 6 months and I went to meet her parents at the house she grew up in. She lives there when she's not at college. Their house was a bit of a shock. The walls were stained and had holes in them. The carpet was covered in stains. Dead cockroaches and ladybugs. Boxes and random furniture scattered against the walls. Most of the lights and ceiling fans were missing, etc. Her parents were amazing people and they really care for their daughter. But I still came out of the experience feeling uneasy. Has anyone else been in a similar experience? Any words of advice, comfort? I know it might sound bad on me. I know I shouldn't judge them and they were wonderful people. But I can't help but feel shocked. My girlfriend's dorm is very clean for college standards. I know it's wrong to speculate on others' financial status, but I feel like that's not a factor in this. They have paid for their daughter's college fully without loans. They go on a cruise every year. They have decent jobs. I just don't know how to feel. As a daughter of hoarders, I can tell you that her parents' living conditions are not a reflection on her. If anything, it makes you a clean freak if you're uncomfortable hanging around the house, though I would just gently guide visits to be out and about. I had an ex who had a really weird and terrible childhood. I'm talking living in the woods in tents and trailers in junkyard condition. He was one of the most meticulously clean people I've known, almost to a fault. If she lives at a healthy standard, her upbringing is clearly not an issue. My mom keeps a horrible home. I won't go back to it to this day. Have some empathy, as your girlfriend probably hopes to not be judged by her parents' decisions and chosen environment. There is probably some kind of mental illness or functional difficulty tied in there. Or maybe they were raised in impoverished environments and are overly used to it. But if they did a good job raising her, and one is functioning well enough to pay tuition and cruises, then I think that cycle is being broken with your GF. And it is a good sign that she is not embarrassed of them. It shows loyalty and secure attachment. When I am being judgmental, what helps me is to try to analyze the composing elements of the situation. It makes it harder to apply value judgments. S&D is helpful in expanding my understanding of the world. Spice of life. My parents' home is messy like this, though without the dead bugs. My dad is retired and full-on lazy. My mom is exhausted from working full-time and coming home to her giant man baby of a husband that she has to cook every meal. It's been like that for a long time and I was always so embarrassed by the state of the house, so never had friends round for sleepovers after a certain point. My sister and I sometimes completely clean the worst rooms. And never with help. But it never lasts because it's not maintained. My home is neat and tidy because I learned the hard way that a cluttered home makes me depressed and anxious. Just know your GF isn't her parents. I'm surprised she took you to see the house because, from experience, it's nerve-wracking knowing the negative judgments that would come. It shows a high level of trust to expose what is likely a challenging aspect of her life to you. If you talk to her, make sure she knows she deserved better. If your girlfriend is tidy, it's a great sign that she didn't inherit her parents' housekeeping habits. My in-laws are the same. And unfortunately my husband is still used to their standards of cleanliness and hasn't changed much since. When I first went to his house back when we were 18, he was sleeping on a grubby yoga mat on a dirty floor and his grayish black, originally white, pillow had no pillowcase on it. Nauseated face vomiting. I've never seen him take the initiative to actually launder the sheets in the 18 years we've been together. Gives me the ick. Her parents' house does not say anything about her. She has no control over how her parents live. You even said her dorm was clean. My ex's parents' house was like this. It was a real shock for me. Cockroaches. Trash everywhere. Literally a 5 feet pile of empty cans in the yard outside. An odd smell. Dogs that desperately needed their nails clipped. I was honestly uncomfortable even sitting down on the old stained couches. But my ex was extremely clean. Like the cleanest and tidiest person I have ever lived with. People are not carbon copies of their parents. Why would you feel any kind of way about this? You're dating her, not her parents. Ask her about it, directly and without judgment, and then decide how you should feel. As long as this isn't how she also intends to live, then I think you'll find it fairly easy to navigate. I had the exact same experience with my wife. As we were getting to know each other, went to her parents and they are obviously hoarders. Not extreme, but definitely hoard. It's okay to make you feel a bit odd, but I wouldn't put too much weight on it. As others have mentioned, adult children of hoarders are typically pretty clean LMAO. Is there possibly some neurodivergence there? Because if her parents were neurodivergent, then it might be that all those little things they just find hard to keep on top of. Fixing a ceiling fan, for instance, would take years for me. ADHD. I can't do it myself. And my brain just doesn't really get the process of how you would get that sorted. The roaches and stuff is pretty gross. But it can also make you really procrastinate and task avoid what you don't want to do. I would talk to her about it. Something on the order of, I really like your parents. I can see why you love them so much. One thing though, the house. I just couldn't live that way personally, but as long as they're fine with it, that's okay. If she goes and defends them and tries to tell you there's nothing wrong with the way they live, you might want to consider this a short-term relationship. If she says, I've been trying to get them to clean up, I don't understand why they don't change, then you may have a chance with her. Only way to know is to ask. They probably made choices to be able to pay her studies and for the lifestyle they want. They're selling fixtures for money. I'd think real careful first. You need to start having discussions about how her parents will interact with your kids if you're thinking about having them eventually. Obviously your children couldn't visit them at their house. It's unfair on older kids and dangerous to you get ones. I would also advise inviting them to stay with you to see what they're like as guests in your house. Because that could also be an issue. If you already met her parents, I would assume that you have a good, deep bond with her. If at this moment you cannot still talk to her about what you just witnessed, then I might think it was a little bit early for a visit to her parents' home. Can you talk to her about what you just saw at their house? I find it most strange that she didn't prepare you for or acknowledge it in any way. However, seems like you two are really young. Maybe she just wasn't sure what to say. I agree with others to judge her on her actions, which seem to be keeping her space clean. However, if she can comfortably live in an environment like that and also not find it worth mentioning before you went there, then maybe she also has different tolerances for that sort of thing, which could eventually cause a problem if her habits change.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.